In tonight's Last Minute, a note on Bill Owens, who until this past week was executive producer of 60 Minutes. He was our boss. Bill was with CBS News nearly 40 years, 26 years at 60 Minutes. He covered the world, covered combat, the White House. His was a quest to open minds, not close them. If you've ever worked hard for a boss because you admired him, then you understand what we've enjoyed here. Bill resigned Tuesday. It was hard on him and hard on us, but he did it for us and you. Stories we pursued for 57 years are often controversial. Lately, the Israel-Gaza war and the Trump administration. Bill made sure they were accurate and fair. He was tough that way. But our parent company, Paramount, is trying to complete a merger. The Trump administration must approve it. Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. None of our stories has been blocked, but Bill felt he lost the independence that honest journalism requires. No one here is happy about it, but in resigning, Bill proved one thing. He was the right person to lead 60 Minutes all along.
First of all, to see 60 Minutes publicly air out its own parent company is both a testament to the show's courage at this moment and a testament to the unique dangers posed by this moment. Something tells me that if the stakes weren't this high, 60 Minutes likely wouldn't shoulder the risk of criticizing CBS on CBS's air. But the reality is that the stakes are clearly this high, given the ways in which the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself are abusing power for their own personal gain. Trump has pressured law firms, and as soon as the first one capitulated, Trump smelled blood in the water and went after more and more and more, to the point where he now has over $1 billion in promised pro bono legal services. He's pressured universities by dangling federal funding over their heads, and Columbia capitulated, causing Trump to go after more and more and more. He's pressured tech billionaires, and of course most of them not only handed over millions of dollars, but literally sat behind him during his inauguration ceremony. And he's pressured media outlets and watched ABC News capitulate instantly by settling a frivolous lawsuit for $15 million, which is why he's now going after CBS's 60 Minutes. The reality is that all of those people or institutions or companies or outlets that opted to cave might have been looking for a short-term fix for their own problems, but in doing so, they all emboldened Donald Trump to go after more. They have all made America less safe, less free, and less democratic, all because they wanted to save their own asses and protect their own wallets. This is greed at its highest order. All of which underscores the importance of independent media at this particular moment in history. The reality is that for years we have relied on the size of our big legacy media outlets as if that's some bulwark against being bullied or influenced by the federal government, when in reality, their size is expressly what does make them vulnerable. These outlets, by virtue of their size and their diverse holdings, absolutely rely on the federal government to approve mergers and acquisitions and licenses. They're not too big to fail, they are too big to avoid exposure. Comcast might own NBC Universal, sure, but it also owns broadband internet. You think the federal government doesn't have oversight? Disney owns film and TV, but also theme parks. Sony, again, film and TV, but also owns gaming and electronics and music. Amazon owns a media entity, but also a massive e-commerce platform. And a spaceship company. The bigger these entities are, the more exposed they've become. And we are seeing the ways in which Trump is not only content to leverage his power over them, but the speed with which they will capitulate as a result. If ever there was a reason to embrace independent media, this is it. I spoke with my Democracy Watch co-host Mark Elias about this point. Here's what he had to say.
But what has become clear is that if you are a major media entity and you have diverse holdings, you have many television stations and licenses before the FCC, or you have unrelated lines of business like theme parks or rocket launching companies, that you are actually less able to stand up to Donald Trump. You are actually more powerless to stand up to Donald Trump than I am running Democracy Docket, or you are running your media entities. I posted on Blue Sky not long ago that, I realized that I am more powerful than Elon Musk. I am more powerful than Mark Zuckerberg, and I am more powerful than Jeff Bezos, because I can say right now out loud, fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you. And they can't afford to do that. They can't afford to stand up to Donald Trump because he'll influence their government contracts. They can't afford to stand up to Donald Trump because they'll influence his ability to get relicensing their broadcast stations. So in many respects, the democracy dockets of the world, the Brian Tyler Cohens of the world, actually are much, much more powerful in the current media environment and much more able to stand up to and deliver accurate information and analysis, much more able to not bow down, not to obey, than any of these powerful companies.
To that point, the reality is that outlets like mine are not serving two masters. I don't have to compromise my coverage for fear of the government punishing some other arm of my holdings. I have been 100% independent since the first day I started making videos. I have zero investors, I have sponsors only on my podcast, and my only job is to deliver honest, accurate information to you on a daily basis. In my opinion, that's what the news should be. But the sad reality is that when a few billionaires whose sole priority is consolidating wealth and power and influence start to take control of our media and tech platforms, their priorities aren't quite as transparent. Which is why suddenly CBS's parent company starts seeking editorial input on what airs on 60 Minutes, because their priority shifts from what's accurate to what's politically or financially convenient for them. Small steps like this not only degrade trust in the show, but in the media more broadly. But hey, as long as Shari Redstone gets her merger, then I guess it's all worth it, right? After all, what's another knife in Americans' trust in the media if it means a few folks can get just a little bit richer? So good on Bill Owens for publicly resigning to shine a spotlight on what was happening. If you are looking for divergent strategies, Bill Owens sacrificed his own career to protect one small corner of the media, all the while Redstone and Paramount sacrificed the media to protect one small corner of their fortune. One is a testament to integrity, while the other is a testament to greed. And had Owens not resigned, had Owens not shared his story publicly, had we not seen this clip at the tail end of the CBS show 60 Minutes, we would likely not have known any of this. The least that I can do, the least that we all can do, is to honor the sacrifice he made by elevating what he did into the national consciousness, and to shine a spotlight on what continues to this day at the hands of a few greedy people who continue to capitulate to Trump to help themselves while sacrificing the broader media space. In the meantime, if you'd like to support independent media that isn't controlled by some major corporate conglomerate, independent media that won't compromise its values for fear of retribution, independent media that will continue to criticize where criticism is due, then please consider subscribing to me on my platforms: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you get your news. And one more point. I'm obviously hyper aware that my longevity on these platforms depends solely on the platform owner's willingness to protect my free speech rights. That is a tenuous bet these days. Elon Musk, for example, killed my reach on Twitter, which was expected and yet still happened. I of course hope that Google and Meta and TikTok don't do the same, but I would also hope they wouldn't offer up millions of dollars to Trump and show up at his inauguration sitting right behind him, and yet here we are. So to that end, if you would like to ensure that I can always reach you where I'm not reliant on some major media platform, my newsletter is a great way to ensure that I have direct access to you should that ever be necessary. You can go to plus.briantylercohen.com, again, plus.briantylercohen.com to sign up for my newsletter. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. It's free, as is all of my content, but there is a paid option if you'd like to support my work. I would highly recommend that you sign up if you haven't yet, as we continue to wade deeper and deeper into this era of media uncertainty. Our First Amendment rights are very clearly under attack. Some people and entities and outlets are perfectly content to sacrifice those rights to protect their bottom line. Others, myself included, are staying in this fight no matter how dangerous it gets, because frankly, there's too much at stake not to. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.